In today's video, I'm sharing with you ways to live slowly this summer. Let's get right into it. Okay friends, if you are not new to the channel, welcome back. You already know what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to be talking about seasonal slow living and why I love it so much and how we can incorporate all of the things about seasonal slow living into summer specifically as we just enter the season of summer. Happy summer. But if you are new to the channel, welcome, and I am here to tell you all about seasonal slow living. I love seasonal slow living so much. What is seasonal slow living? For me, I think I came up with this phrase. I've never heard anyone else kind of say it. I do see it kind of popping up more nowadays, but I came up with the phrase when I was pretty much getting sick and tired of not liking multiple seasons out of the year. It felt like I was missing out on half the year because I was just miserable and waiting for the season to pass so that I can look forward to another season. And I do think that's really contradictory when it comes to slow living and being present and enjoying little things and enjoying the moment that you're in. So I made an effort to start incorporating practices that align with seasonal slow living, and that is essentially embracing, celebrating a season for what it is, whether it's through associations, like associations that we all have with certain seasons, or personal associations, personal memories, nostalgia, things that I personally love and respect and can celebrate for that particular season. And so we're basically doing that in today's video, but for summer specifically, again, because we are now heading into summer. We have already actually gotten into summer. It's been about a week now, and of course, the second that it hit summer, we've been in an excessive heat warning, heat wave, all of the things. It's been 100 degrees, feels like 110 degrees. Summer is officially here. So let's jump into the video. I have a list of ideas and I have it on my phone because I no longer have my gigantic screen. I am selling my Mac if anybody was interested. We are going to start with some prompts. Now, I've also been talking about this a lot this year in particular because I have fallen in love with journaling again, especially with the morning pages, but I do think that journaling can be extremely transformative. It can really change the way that you look at life, the way that you approach life, if you are doing it right. So I have prompts that I think will help you get into the right mindset for seasonal slow living, summer in particular. And so the first prompt is, what do you associate with summer? So this is really helping you think about what you associate with summer, not what everybody else associates with summer. What do you think about when you think of summer? You can list positive things, you can list negative things, just list all of the things and get it down on paper. It will get your mind kind of rolling when it comes to all things summer. And this first prompt is going to lead into the other prompts, so stick with me. But the next prompt is, how did summers feel for you as a kid? I personally, when I think about summer, I think about childlike joy. I think about summer vacation. I think about my best summers being when I was a young person, a child, and having summer vacation and doing all of the things and jam-packing all of the fun that you can possibly have during your summer vacation. So I encourage you to think about what summers felt like to you as a kid, because as an adult, summers can be the complete opposite of what summers were to you as a child. And I have a feeling that most of us really love our childhood summers. If not, that's absolutely okay. Answer the prompt as honestly as you possibly can, but try to think of the things that you associate with your youth, your childhood, when it comes specifically to summer. It's so funny, like when I think back to my childhood, most of the time I automatically think about summers, which is very interesting. I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing, but I always think about summer, which is so ironic given, I don't know if I even mentioned it in the video just yet, but summer is now my least favorite season. I don't dislike summer anymore, but there was a very good amount of time in my adult life, if not most of my adult life, where I absolutely hated summer, but not anymore. Okay, the third prompt. What summer habits positively contribute to your lifestyle? So I feel like, at least for me, I have different routines when it comes to different seasons. There are different things that I tend to do depending on the season. And so, if that is something that resonates with you, think about the routines that you have during the summertime in particular. What comes out of it that you feel is positive, that you think is a good contribution, I don't know why I'm saying that weirdly, to your lifestyle. These prompts are really trying to get you to think about things that you can actually take from the prompts, from the answers, and utilize moving forward. Again, all of these prompts are interconnected and will lead to the final prompts, or the final prompt, which is how can you incorporate your answers into routines, plans, activities, practices this summer. So again, you're going to answer the previous prompts as honestly, as openly, as detailed as you possibly can. And yes, you can use these prompts for conversation, but I do recommend you writing this down because it's going to be important for you to remember what you've made note of. And you're going to take bits and pieces from those answers and try to incorporate it into your summer activities, your summer plans, your daily routines, your morning, evening, afternoon routines, your weekend routines. Hopefully, these prompts are going to help you really pinpoint specific things, or they'll at least give you a guiding point so that you can get to those specific things that will then trickle down into your routines, into your plans, activities, etc. So hopefully those prompts and the explanation as to why we're doing these prompts make sense. I do know that I talk about prompts and bucket lists and activities all the time, but I do also understand that it's important to explain why I'm even telling you those things and why those things are effective. So hopefully that was helpful. But moving on to the next thing, another way you can embrace slow living this summer, and that is sitting with your boredom. Stick with me. Sit with your boredom and go screen free for a little bit. Again, this is going to apply to probably my generation, millennials and a little bit older, or millennials and older. But when I think about summers as a kid, which is part of the first thing that we talked about with the prompts, I know that I was not on a screen. I was not on a phone. I was not scrolling endlessly for hours, which I have to admit I do a lot these days now as an adult and access to a smartphone. But when I was younger, there were so many times where I could tell you I was bored as hell. But I can also tell you that when I sat with that boredom, because I literally had no choice but to sit with that boredom, there was no escape in that sense of just going onto your phone and mindlessly scrolling. I got really creative and I had a lot of fun as a result of that boredom. So I really do encourage you, and I know this is going to be extremely hard, but I encourage you to go screen free for some periods of time throughout your summer, whether it's an entire weekend, like a Saturday maybe, or a few hours of your Saturday or a few hours of your weekday. Just try to put your phone down for a little bit. Sit with your boredom, see what pops into your mind. Use your prompts to help you come up with things if you have nothing popping up in your mind, and go with it. Let that creativity take you into an activity, a practice, or just daydreaming, anything. You don't really have to do anything, but just let that boredom and the creativity that results from it take you into a space that will truly be fulfilling, memory making, and interesting and fun, and will help you really fine tune, really identify what it is that you're individually interested in, rather than distracting yourself from all of those things with mindless scrolling. I did do a Substack newsletter all about sitting with boredom. I will actually link that down below because the thoughts in there are probably a little bit more intricate than what I just quickly mentioned. But again, I really, really do encourage you to give this a try. Stick with it for a little bit, even if it means like putting your phone on Do Not Disturb for an hour out of the day, and just see what happens. And also let me know what happens after you turn your screen back on. Okay, and then the next thing that you can do to live slowly this summer is, and you knew I was gonna mention this, I had to mention this if you are not new to the channel, but it is to create a bucket list. And I will also say I have some explanations and some ways for you to actually incorporate a bucket list and execute a bucket list in this video. So it's not gonna be another iteration of videos in the past where I just mention things that are on my bucket list. Now to rewind, if you've never seen one of these videos before, what the heck is a bucket list when it comes to seasonal slow living, summer slow living? I love to do a seasonal bucket list. I like to sit down and just create a gigantic list of things that I would love to do for the season specifically. Again, I go back to the prompts. I think about the things that I love about that season. I think about the things that I associate with the season, and I come out with practices, ideas, actual plans, and activities. I throw it all into this bucket list, and then from there, we try to execute it. So if you want actual ideas as to what you want to include in your summer bucket list, first start with your prompts and make your own bucket list. But if you really have no idea where to start, I do have a free Notion template that you can copy and paste into your Notion, and it's essentially my bucket list. It's my summer bucket list. So you can grab that in the description box. There's a link there always. But I'm going to be talking about how to actually implement these bucket lists. The first thing that you're going to want to try is add one of the items from your bucket list to your weekly calendar. So take a look at your calendar for the week. What are some times out of the week that you are free to do something for yourself, for your personal joy? If you find that slot, or when you find that slot, it can be as little as 15 minutes, I promise you that. But once you find that slot, put it into your plans. Jot it into your calendar, digitally, pen and paper, whatever it may be, put it into your plans. And that is how you're going to execute it. You only execute things if you really take it as seriously as you take your work projects or any other kind of adulting projects and responsibilities. So make it a habit of adding these personal joy plans, your bucket list plans, into your calendar. For example, on a Saturday, if you don't have anything much going on, let's say on a Saturday morning, put in a little mini road trip, like an hour-long road trip to spend a day in a nearby town and explore the shops and things like that, if that's something on your bucket list. I don't know. I'm just using that as an example. Another example is in the evening, you can take your phone off and you can go grab a scoop of ice cream, sit out in the back, and read your book. That can be something else that is on your bucket list. I'm just throwing out ideas there, but those are some really practical ways in which you can incorporate that into your weekly routines. The next thing that you can do is just cross off the things as you go on your bucket list. There's something really rewarding, really satisfying about crossing things off a list, and it's going to inspire you and really encourage you to keep going because you want to keep crossing things off your list. There's nothing better than a complete to-do list, so give this a try. You'll actually be surprised that once you cross things off, you're like, oh my God, I want to keep doing this. It's kind of like a high almost, at least for me. And then finally, another idea that can help you keep track is making your bucket list very visually appealing, very much in your face, very visual. So when I was younger, I started the whole summer bucket list or the seasonal bucket list back when I was like, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. And what me and my friend used to do, we used to get a gigantic poster board from like Staples. It would like be 99 cents, but it was a gigantic poster board. And we would take sticky notes and we would write all of our bucket list ideas onto each sticky note and plaster it onto the poster board. And then we would hang it up in my room, and every single week we would try and get as many things done as possible. And at the end of the week or near the end of summer, depending on what you want to do or what we did, we would start pulling things off, like pulling sticky notes off the poster board. And then once we saw what was left on the poster board, we would try and cram all of those things right before summer ends. So we were very much inspired by crossing things off as you go kind of thing. And this is another way you can do that, but just in a very, very large, in-your-face visual. You don't have to do that. You can also use a Notion board. Like I mentioned, I have a Notion board that you can take and copy and paste, and I've made it very visually appealing, but you can do anything that is visually appealing to you. You can take a little piece of paper and stick it in front of your computer. You can have a widget on your phone that you tack on your home screen so that it is always there. It's always there for you to see. Do whatever it is that helps you visually remember and also feel inspired to click on or look at and actually execute the things that are on the list. We're just trying to find ways to really inspire, encourage, and entice us to do these things for us, because when we're talking about our personal joys and we're talking about things that we personally want to do, we tend to push them off to the side because there's no deadline, there is no consequence for not doing it, so to say. Like, consequence, I do think there is a consequence, but we tend to push our personal joys to the side because we don't think that anything's going to happen if we don't do those things. But hopefully all of these ideas have inspired you and really gave you some clarity and insight into how you can actually live slowly this summer in a more practical way. I do have so many other videos and blog posts and Substack articles and posts on my social media where I talk about seasonal slow living and actual things that you can do. Again, I have the Notion board as well, so feel free to roam around on Slow Morning Diaries and find all of those resources and use them. I've created them for you, and I'm going to continue creating them, and I'm going to continue to encourage you and help you along your slow living journey, especially when it comes to seasonal slow living. So more videos like this to come as the seasons come and we start to progress on our slow living journey. But thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I would love to know your summer plans. I would love to know something that is on your summer bucket list, or if any of the ideas that I mentioned today are particularly helpful, it would also be great to know. But thank you once again, and I will talk to you in the next video.